Hello everybody, this is Stephen Whitfield with Drilling Contractor, and we're here at the 2024 IADC Drilling Onshore Conference in Houston, Texas, and I've snagged a guy who spoke at this conference, Chris Christopher of Patterson-UTI. He spoke a bit about Patterson's work on connection automation in the Permian Basin. It was a fascinating presentation, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about that for you viewers out there today. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So we talk about connection automation. You described it as one of many products that you kind of see out there. I think the first question I would have is to just sort of ask about the importance of connection automation. Why is it something that you feel we need to develop?
So I think the foundation of drilling automation is connection automation. I think when you say you have an drilling automation, it implies connection automation. Operators have gone through a lot of trouble to create best practices around connection automation for many reasons, but among them, reduced downtime. And so automating this sequence ensures that they get their best practices met.
So you also talked about the rollout of this connection automation product in the Permian, and one of the things that you mentioned was the importance of partnership. And you're talking about partnership with many different entities on this entire effort. Can you tell us why that partnership is important?
The importance of partnership is many reasons, one of which is planning. Planning gives us time to build in trust and plan our execution. It also builds natural buy-in. So when we partner with an operator, they feed into the product. They help us define what to build into the product and design. So then when we go to use the product, they naturally have buy-in into what the product is. And in that way, we can execute more effectively.
So another thing that you mentioned was training. You said you had to train and you had to retrain over the course of this rollout. Can you sort of explain to us why that training was important, and were there any challenges to having to do training and retraining on this?
Yeah, so training, of course, is important for anything. In the case of automation, we make a great product. But if you use the product and you do it improperly, then that product produces bad result. So the importance of training is you use the product right and it delivers the desired results.
And lastly, at the end of the presentation, you kind of mentioned sort of additional sort of design elements that you might look to incorporate as you've gone through the rollout and as you've seen everything kind of working, certain areas that you might want to look at in terms of incorporating this into the future with this product. And I know that there are so many things that you listed. I know you could probably go in depth on all of them, but for the purpose of brevity, can we just go over sort of a list of some of these things that you guys are kind of looking at?
Yeah, so specific to connection automation, there's a list. I'll break it into two groups. There's feature enhancements for the product itself, so that's features that may be needed. For example, if you're drilling and you need to wait a little while before executing part of the process, you may need a pause button to pause the sequence. So that's a new feature. But more excitedly to us is that we view our strategy as developing automation and then enhancing it with data. In this case, we have an example for connection automation where we created a pattern recognition algorithm to recognize tagging bottom. And in doing so, we can create a more effective tear process. So that's just an example of using data to add new feature sets to the automation.
Well, and of course, that's just something that'll be fascinating to see as you guys kind of continue working on this moving forward. So Chris, thank you so much for taking the time here today at this conference. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for visiting Drilling Contractor.